Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Tuesday, the 6th of September, comes to you from London. And we start by just looking at the energy mix. We're seeing quite a lot of red on the screen there this morning, and I will come back and have a closer look at that because a lot of clients have been asking me what's happening. Just first of all, looking at the major markets, we're seeing quite a lot of green on the screen this morning, which is encouraging. The dollar is just a little bit weaker, which means we're seeing some of these other currencies just recovering. The euro is still below its the parity level, so that's really quite key. We've seen the Japanese yen making 24-year lows against the dollar. That's really significant. And yesterday, sterling actually nudged a 40-year low. So really significant there. I haven't seen these levels back since the 80s. And of course, we've got downside targets on sterling. We've been putting those out in our reports to clients. Looking against sterling against the euro, sitting relatively steady at 116. But we did have a bad week last week in the run-up to this sort of political news. So markets really a bit nervous there, but recovering this morning. Bitcoin still below $20,000. And the US markets, we will see them open today after Labor Day yesterday. The classic sell in May and go away and come back at Labor Day. Will we see people coming back into the market? That's going to be the real key there. But the futures suggest that we are going to be flat today. So that's really quite key there. Taking a look at some of the Asian markets, we see Japan actually was lower, and the Hang Seng was lower, and the Aussie market down 0.4%. Although I noticed my Aussie stocks were all up quite handsomely. So commodity stocks are faring better there. We'll look at the energy mix in a minute. Some of the soft commodities just lower, and again we put those out in our monthly reports. Gold sitting at 1712, so just nudging this $1,700 level, and bond yields just up again this morning, ticking higher all the time there. So we are seeing that, and again we cover all the bond yields in our monthly energy report, our monthly global markets report, which goes out to our enterprise clients. So let's start by looking at Brent crude. We're seeing just a bit of a kick down this morning. In fact, if we just look at our energy report out to clients, here are all the targets just kicking in real time, and you can set these off on your Trayport, on your Bloomberg, on your Icon, and on a combination. Just add the instruments to the lists, and you will get these short-term targets. So really quite key there, and more of our clients just setting up these targets so they get them alerted to them as they speak, and you'll see them pop up in your screen every time we make a new target there. So interesting to see there 90 bar low for emissions, for example. But looking at the energy reports, the energy daily, this goes out to clients first thing in the morning when the market opens, and you can go back and just look at the previous reports. So here we see yesterday we were bearish emissions. We were actually fairly neutral on gas markets yesterday despite the 25% increase, and again this morning we're just making it very difficult to call, but we just didn't trust that rise yesterday. The charts were just indicating that it probably wasn't going to hold on, and in fact we closed up around 13%. We're seeing we're down that already this morning, so we're back to where we started yesterday morning, so hence our neutral stance. We really have saw the market pop on that Nord Stream announcement, but we're back to where we were. So the really key thing there was not to panic, and that's why we're in the reports. We just went out as neutral. We didn't see those rises being sustainable. Long-term picture is different, and we cover those in our weekly and our monthly reports, of course, but daily for trading the day, that's what we put out. And if you want a trial of the reports, just message me or email ta@updata.co.uk. So looking at Brent crude, this $90 level is pretty key. We're seeing this big move this morning, down 1.3%. This is the 60-minute chart. This is the daily chart. Below the cloud here, but we were just wandering out. The lagging line not yet through, and we've got this new downside target. We will have an alert on that in the alerts. We've got a new downside target there, and on the 60-minute chart, and of course on the daily chart we're seeing these targets creeping in. So the picture is changing quite dramatically for crude oil, and we see here the same thing. We've got downside targets there as well. US nat gas sitting at 876. We said in our morning call this morning and yesterday that 870 was the critical level to hold. We've got a new upside target there. We will have an alert on that again in the alerts. on the 1 minute. This is the daily, the 60 minute, the 1 minute, so medium term, short term, and very short term. So if you're trading, this is what you want to watch. There's the different time horizons. And here we see again we're below the cloud there on US nat gas on the 60 minute chart, above on the daily. So bullish, medium, and long term, just bearish on the short term. That's how you resolve these trends. Looking at coal, we're still very bullish here. We're up again another 2% this morning, making new highs. So coal looking very strong indeed. And if we look at emissions, we've been bearish here, and that's been out in our reports for some time. We've been emissions. We were bearish for the week, bearish each day, and the downside target's there, and that's where we're heading. So that story really clear in the charts. Now we get to the more tricky thing of gas. Looking at gas markets. So first of all, looking at TTF, we see here that 200 is the really critical level now for TTF, 200 euros. That's the critical level. So 200 is the number to watch. We've got downside targets here. Remembering we popped yesterday, we've unwound that. We're back to where we started yesterday morning. So really we've unwound that. Watch these 1 minute targets. And if you're trading OTC, watch them on your 1 minute on your OTC, and use the percentage log scale, because that will just deal with the volatility that we're seeing here rather than arithmetic scale. If you want to take our point and figure course, let us know and you can learn how to use these targets properly. But the really key thing is we saw that little downside target that's been given and met this morning, so we're waiting for the next targets on that 1 minute chart. And of course you can also vary the box size and go smaller or larger, so that's really quite key there. But we're seeing here that TTF is just pulling back to where we started, down 11%. So for the moment, we are short-term bearish. Hard to believe with everything you're hearing in the news, but of course we are long-term bullish, medium and long-term, still bullish, finding support, but we're just pulling right the way back to that support. The 200 level is critical to watch, and again, you can set an alert on that quite easily. NBP, UK gas, 400 is the level here, and that's really just, we're right on that this morning, just ticking below. Not enough yet to really say that we've broken that support level, but really quite key there, and we're seeing that really just breaking lower there. So that's really quite key there on the chart. So just watching that trend, that 400 level is going to be pretty critical. Watch for further falls below that. And of course, here we are. We're seeing the targets kicking in this morning. More targets there on oil. No real clear targets on the 1 minute chart there, so it's a little bit of a hard read. The critical thing is watching that 400 level. If we close below there today, we might see more downward pressure. Of course, we're still on a bull trend, medium term, short term. We're just bearish there. Taking a look at German power. The critical level here is 500 euros, and really interesting now, we've got a little bit of a range going on, and just watch that there. I've just put those levels on, and in fact I can just clear those and just put those on a little bit more accurately. So there's the level there. So bullish above 665, bearish below 500. That's the game you've got to watch now. Just watch for those moves, and that's going to be pretty critical. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. Keep an eye on those targets and those alerts and read the reports. Until tomorrow, see you then.